Well, that's okay. We'll just do it off the cuff. We'll just work it out. Well, hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Kevin Oliver, and I am a full-time real estate investor. I'm also a real estate broker with Keller Williams. Been with them for a number of years, and I did not start out in the womb flipping houses like some other folks. Yeah, that's it. But my background actually is in computers. And then from there I had my master's from George Washington University in project management. And I worked for Nortel for a long time as the senior project manager for the Western US. And then from there, after the dot-com bubble burst, I was recruited by a small little mom and pop shop called GE. To come in and head up some of theirs at GE Consumer Finance. And I was before I left GE, I was the top issues manager for North America. And I built GE's loan origination system where we were doing right at about $8.3 billion a month. That's just let that one soak in a little bit. That's not an M, that's a B. Yeah, and they're probably one of the larger companies in North America, or in the world actually for that matter. But after I went ahead and I was making well in the six figures, having a great time, had a six-figure income, had just built a new home, and I was in Germany at the time, and I had already started looking into, and I had gone into the Rich Dad classes and took that. I started taking some wholesale classes and rehabbing and doing foreclosures and lease options and all those different things that we take classes on, right? And learning, but I really didn't know how to invest at that time. But, excuse me. But I think my wife's giving me a cold, so she's been sick for the last day, but that's all right. We're going to fight it a little bit. But so we went ahead and I was in Germany at the time, and we had been doing some reorganization. Everybody know what reorganization is? Yeah, layoffs. That's a nice word for layoffs. But we went ahead and I got called into a gentleman named Uli. He was our global leader, and says, "Kevin, come on into the office here, and we want to go ahead and do your evaluation." And I said, "Okay, what's that?" They did. They have some great Rhine wine. But and we'll talk about wine later. But we went ahead, and from there, Uli called me and says, "Kevin, you're very, very well liked in the organization, but," and I'm like, "Oh, here it goes. I'm getting laid off, right? We want you to move to Atlanta." I went, "Georgia?" And he says, "Yeah, we're we're reorganizing our top issues managers over there and stuff." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Do you mind if I call my wife first?" And he says, "Yeah, you're in Germany." He says, "Enjoy the beer and the time and stuff here, and we'll talk at the end of the week." I said, "Great." So I go back to the hotel that evening, and I talked to my wife, and I said, "Hey, honey," I said, "We've been doing some reorganization." And she says, "Honey, you still have your job, don't you?" "Yes, dear." And I says, "But they want us to move to Atlanta." And she goes, "Georgia?" And I says, "Yes, dear." Now, mind you, my wife, my wife's stuff is from this area as well. We lived over here in La Cañada area, and she went to Sacred Heart. You know where Sacred Heart is? Some of you guys, okay. And gosh darn is basically a swear word for her. She doesn't like to swear, but I think I've taught her my sailor ways of, a little bit as we've aged. But so I get her on the phone and I says, "Well, what do you think about that?" And she says, "Kevin, not only no, but hell no." And I said, "Oh, okay. I guess that means no." But we go ahead, and I talked to Uli, and I said, "Uli, I don't think it's going to work out." And he says, "Well, let's try to find you something." Okay, and I said, back here in California. Now I come back to the States, and we're looking for another position, and we just can't find anything. We're still laying off people. And I had already started, doing some investing and had a little bit of success with it as a wholesaler. And we're going to talk about wholesaling here in just a little bit. So I call Uli back up in Germany. I said, Uli, would you, consider doing a buyout? And he says, would you consider doing that? And I says, well, let's work out the numbers. And he says, all right. So I get my wife back on the phone. I said, hey, they're looking at doing a buyout for you. I said, who's your best employment attorney? She works for a law firm. And she said, oh, you got to talk to David, this guy named David. I said, all right, perfect. I call up David. I said, David, you got to negotiate a separation for me over with GE. And he says, not a problem, Kevin. I said, how much you billing? He said, it doesn't matter. And I said, you're right. And then we go ahead and he negotiates a nice separation for me. That was my first time basically just losing my job. Okay, now with a little bit of conditions there, obviously. Okay, but the thing that I had, and I made this leap of faith. Okay, I just lost the job. I had $130,000 in high interest credit card debt. 2 car payments, built a new house, 2 children, and a wife still. Can you talk about motivation? So I called up my partner at the time. We're going to talk about partners here tonight before we run into this here, because a partner can make or break you. Okay, and partners in investing is so important. Okay, and it's not just if you have a formal relationship, but like I know Kirk here. Kirk and I, we've met at FIBI here before, and we worked together. Okay, I helped him on a couple of transactions he did, right, Kirk? We did some money on those? Absolutely. So partnerships, even if they're not formalized, like having a partnership and stuff, you still have partnerships. Okay, and working with the right people is so important. Don't just work with anybody. Keep your ethics. Keep your honesty and integrity. That is so important because our industry, believe me, is so small. Okay, it's smaller than you think, and your name will get around. I have a wonderful partner that I work with, and I remember the first time that we met, I was speaking into a group very similar to this, and he came in to hear me speak, and he was with another gentleman, and he came up, and his friend says, oh, that's the guy you need to talk to. And after I finished speaking, he came up to me, and he says, hey, Kevin, I have a little bit of money I'd like to invest, and I said, great. And I says, well, why don't you give me a call tomorrow at my office, and we'll talk a little bit more in details about it and stuff like that. Now, that night, I probably talked to 20, 30, 40 people, and next day, I'm at my office, and I get a call from this gentleman named Conrad. And Conrad says, hey, Kevin, I talked to you yesterday about, investing some money and this and that, and I'm talking to him for maybe 2-3 minutes, and I don't have a clue who he is. And he realizes this, and he says, Kevin, it's the guy with the hat. And I'm like, oh, I know exactly who you are. So we go ahead and we sit and we talk, and he says, hey, I have some money, let's go ahead and I'd like to do some deals as a lender. And I said, all right, as soon as something comes across my desk, I'll let you know. And we go ahead, and something came across my desk. I think of him, and I go ahead and I call him and say, hey, Conrad, I got this deal. And I think it's a pretty good deal. It's got some great numbers. He says, all right, well, let me talk to my partner. And so he talks to his partner at the time, and his partner was what I call, any Keller Williams people in here? Okay, you know what a disc is? His partner was a high C. Okay, and that for you guys that are not there is it's an analyst person, okay, and they want to overanalyze, and they're just going to analyze and never make a move. It's analysis paralysis. And so if the numbers work today, guys, they're going to work tomorrow. Okay, you work your numbers, and they're going to work tomorrow. So we go ahead, and I call it Conrad, and he says he talks to his partner. By the time he gets back to me, it's 2 or 3 days later. He says, hey, I think we're going to go ahead and do that deal. And I said, dude, that deal's gone. I had that thing sold an hour later. And you got to make sure that your number, if your numbers work now, they're going to work tomorrow. But so he says, all right, well, let me know if anything else comes up. I said, great. So about a month went by, and we had another deal that kind of fit his criteria. And he said, I called him and said, hey, he says, Kevin, I'm in. I says, great. I'll send you the numbers. And he said, okay, I'm in. And so I said, so I marked it down for him. And I said, I'm getting ready to go out of town next week. This is like on a Friday, and I was getting ready to go look at some houses in Nevada the following Friday. So he said, hey, we need to get the money into escrow. We have escrow open. We need to have it in by, no later than when I leave. And he says, okay. So that was like Friday, and I give him a call on Monday because he said he had to pull it from several different accounts, and I said, not a problem. And it was Monday. I followed up with him. I said, hey, how's that coming along? And he says, oh, it's coming good. I called the bankers. They're getting ready to transfer a few things. I'll have everything towards the end of the week. I said, perfect. I said, I'll talk to you in a couple of days. So I go ahead and I call him up on Wednesday again. I say, hey, Conrad, we doing okay with that money? And he says, yeah, Kevin, it's going good. I've talked to him already. Don't worry about it. And I said, okay, I'm not worried. I says, but I'm leaving town this next Friday. I said, we have to have this in escrow before, before I leave. And he says, okay, not a problem. So I call him up on, I think it was Friday morning or something like that. And I said, hey, Conrad, we gotta get this money into escrow today. I'm getting ready to leave. And he says, well, Kevin, what's the big deal? He says, I got the check. I'm on my way. And he says, what's the big rush about this thing? And I says, well, I'm getting ready to go to Las Vegas. And he says, I'm going to give you $80,000 and you tell me you're going to Vegas? I said, no, we're going to put this into escrow. And then I'm going to go to Vegas. And he says, oh, okay. So he comes out and gives me the cashier's check, and we obviously put it into escrow. Well, the next day, I rush off to Vegas. I had to go meet with my realtor out there because we were looking at some properties in Henderson. And I like my Cabernet. So I'm a couple of glasses in, and I'm like, I'm going to screw with Conrad. So I text him real quick. I said, hey, Conrad, Red 27 didn't work. You got another 80 grand? He texts me like, you got to be shitting me. We've been best friends ever since. But no, Conrad and I have done a lot of business together. We own a couple of corporations together. And I do a lot of my flipping and my buying and hold with him. Probably one of my best friends. I know our wives get along together, and it's probably one of the most honest people I've ever met, Conrad. The man with the hat. But let's talk a little bit about flipping. But partners are very important, and I can get into that a little bit later. Okay, so basically what we do is we acquire property, whether it's single family, multifamily. We do it by cash, generally, or sometimes financing, whether it's private money, hard money, conventional lending as well. Fix and rehab them, and we try to force the appreciation. Sell for profit, whether it's a quick sell or flip, or we do a lot of times where we will hold it for 2-3 years, run that appreciation and sell it at that time. We do a lot of that with our single family sometimes too. We hold a lot of our multifamily. Hold for cash flow, obviously, and then work, and we do some private money lending as well. And I'll talk about a property that we held the second on, and then we had to take over that property because the current person wasn't taking care of it properly and watching the money. So, why find today perfect timing? Obviously, I work a lot in Central California. Bakersfield area is more specific, but I have worked in Central California, Nevada, Arizona. I did one on accident in Kentucky. We'll talk about that one too. But I did make money on it. But a lot of low interest rates right now, guys, for money. There's a lot of cheap money out there. And so whether you're buying or holding or flipping, any private money folks in here? 1, 2, 3 of folks. Pretty good rates right now? Perfect. Okay, so that combination provides a safety net as well as healthy margins can be achieved and reinvested. Ever heard of the term compounding? Okay, so say we take $100,000. What's the average return on the stock market right now? 8%. 6, 7%, 7, 8? Okay, let's go 8. I'm good with 8. Until it crashes. Until it crashes. Okay. So let's take $100,000. What's your average private money? What, 12% private money? 10, 12. 12. Let's go with 12. It's a nice little round number. Okay, so say you take that $100,000 at 12% interest, and you turn that 4 times in a year. Okay, compounding. Anybody guess what your return on investment is? It's a little over 65% return on investment. Try getting that in the stock market.
How does that work?
Take 100,000, you invest it. It's short-term money, so you're getting 12% in it, and it works out. Say you get, and I'm going to do it short. The way that it works is you take the, and just for easy math, because I'm not going to do it in my head. Say you make 112,000. Okay, then you take the 112,000 and you reinvest that. It's going to make you 100 and whatever. Yeah, it's going to make you 150,000. You know, it's and it grows and grows and grows, and you roll it. So you're not making a lot the first time, but by the time you're doing it at 4th time, you're making huge amounts. It's compounding. Okay, so compounding is the trick a lot of time, and that's how you can make great monies in real estate investing as well. And that's on the quick flips. Okay, and there's other ways to do, whether you're doing yield or margins and stuff. Okay, make sense? Okay, so how do we find it? There's a lot of different ways to find it, whether it's on the MLS, working with your realtors, but there's a lot of competition there, guys. Okay, everybody is looking on the MLS, as well as Zillow and Trulia and everything else is pulling from the MLS. Okay, so how many times have you guys called on Zillow and it says for sale and everything else, and the numbers look great, but it's already pending? Anybody?
Actually, something I made an offer on, but somebody got it in 5 minutes.
There you go. So how do you get to be the one to find it quicker, right? And so REOs are another one. I like short sales as well. Short sales have great numbers as long as you can find them, but they're also a lot of competition there. Trustee sales are awesome. I did trustee sales for about 7 years. I also purchased for 2 hedge funds off of Wall Street, purchasing a lot of homes right on there too, but you have to have a lot of cash. Okay, but you can get great returns on that as well. And then working with your wholesalers. Any wholesalers in here? Where's my beloved wholesalers? Come on, don't be shy. Okay, the wholesalers are like this. I'm like, seriously? Wholesaler, yes, that's me. You know, and be out there working with everybody, man. I'm telling you. Wholesalers, I was in a wholesale class when I was first in, and I couldn't understand the mentality sometimes. Where they were coming in and they said, oh, you got to make a list of your people and this and that. And they were going like this. Let me borrow this for a second. And they were going like this. You can't see my list. Are you kidding me? I was going like this. I look like Norma Ray. I want to share my list with everybody. Wholesalers can work together, okay, constantly and work with other investors. And that's a great way for us to acquire as well. Because say Patrick here, say he's a wholesaler and I'm a wholesaler and he has a property under contract, but he has no buyer, okay? But yet maybe I have a buyer, or Cecilia over here, maybe she has a buyer as a wholesaler. Say it's a $10,000 or $20,000 wholesale fee. Do you guys mind splitting 10 grand or 20 grand? You got the buyer, he's got the seller. We cool with that? Absolutely. Every single day, guys, wholesalers, man, don't be shy. Work with everybody. Okay? Let's see, where were we? Oh, there. And then one of the most powerful ways to find off-market deals, and this is where you're going to, and I think Christina said this earlier, your network is a big part of your net worth, okay? That's where you're going to find your off-market deals and meetings just like this, talking to other wholesalers and other people that have found items or assets that are not on the MLS, okay? Network. I have 3 network groups that I go to. I run a FIBI group just like this, as well as we have a place called the Petroleum Club. Anybody heard of the Jonathan Club? It's down here, and the LA Club. A couple of the LA Club is actually in partnership with the Petroleum Club, so I can go to the LA Club also. But we'll go to that club and we'll have cigars and wine and network with all the different business owners and stuff like that. Well, guess what they're doing also? Hello. Okay. So where can you find deals? Anywhere. Network. Okay? So, now I wanted to talk about trustee sales live because I have a lot of people say, oh man, I want to go buy at trustees. That's great. And you can get some great margin for flips at trustees, but you better know what the heck you are doing. Okay? That's probably one of the most riskiest ways to buy real estate. But it can also be one of the most rewarding ways to buy real estate if you have the right team in place. And what you want to do is research in depth, taxes, liens, and the positions of the notes. Okay? So you want to have a good team. You're going to have a person that's buying on the steps. You're going to have your runners that are running the properties because you want to take a look at. And the thing is, I hired a Cal State student. I had he was a junior and then eventually a senior, and I'd pay him on his mileage, and I'd give him 200-300 properties to drive. And his job was basically take a picture of the property, upload it into a database, and then write what kind of roof it had, tile, composition, shake, and then what kind of condition. Fair or poor, fair, average, or excellent. Okay? And then, was it occupied or not? Was there people in it or not? Okay? 3 questions. Very, very important. It got to the point where we were trying properties, and I could take a look at a property. I think Kurt's seen this a lot of times, where I take a look at the property and say, yeah, it's going to need about $15,000, $16,000, and I haven't even gone in the house. And he's like, Kevin, how in the hell you know that? I said, I've just done it a shitload of times. And we walked in, we're about that kind of price, you know. And you get good at that as a trustee, because there's a lot of times as a trustee, when you're buying trustee, you cannot go in the house. Okay? Well, sort of. I see you've been through there before. Yeah, we got to kind of sneak in there sometimes, but you got to have a team in place. Title company, buyer steps, people doing the analysis, drivers, as well as sales and marketing on the back end as well. So you have to have a really good team in place to move these things. Because as soon as we are buying these properties, if it's not occupied, we got to get down there. We got to have our locksmith in place, ready to change those locks immediately, within a half an hour. We're changing the locks. If there is somebody, we're filing, either cash for keys. I remember we bought a 20-unit complex. This is a funny story. We bought a 20-unit complex at the steps, and this place, these people hadn't been paying rent for like a year. Okay. And we knew that we were going to have problems. We had drug dealers, gang members, prostitutes, everything else in this place. This is in California, yes. So I go up there, and I'm having to go through each one of the units, and I knock on this one door, and I have my project manager with me, and this scantily dressed lady answers the door. And I said, excuse me, ma'am. I says, we need to kind of go in, check out everything, and see what kind of, rehabs we need to do, and if there's anything that we can. She says, well, I'm a little busy right now. And I said, oh, this won't take just a moment. And she says, no, I have somebody here. And the light's not coming on here, okay? And my project manager went, Kevin, she's a hooker. She's a hooker. Oh, we'll come back later. We came back later. Oh, but another one at the same building. We had gang members in there, okay? And they were dealing drugs and everything else. And there's 3 units, and these guys don't even want to talk to us, And but this one guy comes up to me and says, hey, I hear you're, giving some cash for keys. And I says, yeah. He said, I said, and I told him, I don't remember, what did I say to him? I says, yeah, we're looking to clear out these 3 different units. He said, I'll take care of it for you. I said, okay. And I said, what's it going to cost me? He says, you give me 5. I says, okay. I says, I tell you what, you clear out all these, you hand me the keys in my hand, and I'll give you I'll give you a check. He says, no. He says, I want cash. He says, you give me $1,000 now, and I'm like, no. I said, you have them out of it tomorrow, and I will get you cash. Now, he was the head of the gang. And he went in there and he says, you guys out, gone. And I went, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 20-unit complex, guys. I want them out. You're going to spend 5? Absolutely, every single day. Come on, Guido, let's go, baby. Okay, so it's not all, sometimes you have to be creative. You see what I mean? And it takes all types and working with all types. Okay? If you think that you're going to be, sitting there in Beverly Hills or in your nice little, Beamer or whatever, okay, in your white little slacks over there, ain't happening, guys. Okay, you're going to have to roll up your sleeves, get down and dirty. Okay? I remember a situation, and I'm going to explain the situation that we had, Kirk. You want to talk about that one? No, I'll talk about it, but yeah. We had a real interesting, and this is the only time I've seen this, and this is when Kirk and I were working on. And let me see, where are we at? Let's go to I'm going to hold on to that one. I'm going to talk about that one in a minute. I want you guys to hear about this story we had with him. I think when I saw the plate, the sausage was about this long and like this.
What?
That's all I'm saying. It was scary. Stuff crawling all over. But all right, so we got, where are we at here? Research in depth. Okay, so this is our process. This is kind of a process, a very high level. If you guys want to take notes on this, that's fine. I find that this works in any market, okay? So basically, you start at the start sign up here, guys, okay? And it starts, we compile a list, whether it's MLS or auction. I think I can go like, I got a light. Okay, so we compile a list, MLS, auction, wherever we're doing. We're going to sort and review through this list. That means, so say if we got 200 or 300 properties we're pulling in a list, we're going to pull out 25 or 30 or so and really do a little deeper look. And we're looking for like, fixer-upper, do-it-yourself, whatever. We're going to go pull through the list. We're going to ID particular properties, and we're going to do a CMA. Anybody know what a CMA is? Yes. Okay, comparative market analysis. Okay, you're running your For you, sweetie, it's the comps. But we're going to go ahead and we do the comps for the people down front here. And then from there, we're going to analyze the properties, okay? That means that we're going to go through, and after we've run our comps, maybe we're running them on 25 or 30 different properties. Are we going to walk 25 or 30 properties? Probably not, because the numbers aren't quite working out. So we're going to identify maybe 6 or 8 properties, and we're going to go walk those, okay? Get our repair costs and stuff, and so we're going to analyze those, and then we're going to finalize our numbers. We may review or drive if we need to go back out and revisit. Finalize any kind of financing, whether we're taking it down with our own cash, whether we're doing private money, whether we're going to put banking in, conventional financing in place, depending. Put your financing in order. We're going to buy the property. Now, this is where we start our questions, okay? Is it vacant, or no, are we going to wholesale it? Okay, do we have it under contract and then just wholesale it and cash out? Or are we going to flip it or hold it? Okay, so our first question is it vacant or not? Because if it is not vacant, okay, we have to do either cash or keys, we have a longer term that we have to possibly hold that. Because can we just go in and say, hey Patrick, dude, I just bought the house, man, you gotta go. Unfortunately, renters have rights, and sometimes more rights than we do as owners. Yeah, but hey, this is who's talking up here? No, I'm kidding with you, Patrick. You're absolutely correct. Fortunately, there are laws in place because there are some real jerk owners out there. And so if it's not vacant, are we going to offer them cash for keys? And if not, do an eviction. And you have to adjust for that eviction as well. Okay, if you are doing cash for keys, you pay off, and then we go ahead and say, okay, here's that extra cash. You're out by this weekend. We're cool. We shake hands. They got money. They're going bye-bye. And we change the locks immediately.
Do you only get the keys once they've gotten their stuff out of the apartment, or do you sometimes
Well, I'm not locking it up with their stuff in there.
Right, okay, so we have to get their
Absolutely. Get out.
good.
Here's cash. Psh, don't hand them the cash until they're out and they are handing you the keys.
Yeah, got it.
Okay? So we're going to go ahead and change the locks, and then we're going to start our rehab. Okay? Prep it for sale. And that means after you've done all your rehab, and I don't care what kind of contractors you got out there, guys. Okay? And I got some great contractors that do some great work. They're still dirty little SOBs. Okay? They got dust everywhere. Okay? So you got to bring your cleaning crew in there. Okay? And prep it for sale, and then of course go ahead and sell it, and that's how it. So that's basic property, our process. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Okay. Here's one that we did a while back. This was fun. This was a HUD purchase. Anybody know what HUD is? Yes. Okay. You can do it at a home store. A lot of that. And you can do it through. It's usually a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac a lot of times, and it's owned by the federal government. Now we went ahead and we purchased this for $71,000, and it was a cosmetic, really, rehab, to be honest with you. It was just paint, carpet. We bought it cash, and with private money. Now, I just finished, or actually didn't. Well, I guess I did finish it. It's in escrow right now. My 223rd rehab. Okay, thank you. But. Ask me how much out of those flips and rehabs, how much of my own money did I put into those?
No.
0. Every single one of them, none. Of my flips. My buy and holds is a different story. Okay, I'll put my own money into there and stuff like that. And there's ways to do it, and I'll teach you that formula in here in just a little bit. So, purchase price $71,000. We sold it for $120,000. With a little bit of selling expenses. We actually bought the buyer to this, so we didn't have to pay a lot of commissions on that. But we gave a little bit of buyer's credit. We had to pay some closing costs for the buyer. And then we had some rehab costs, $16,137. Net profit to us, $27,733. Okay? Now, our average turnaround time was 97 days from the point of purchase to the close of escrow. That's a 30 and 45 day close of escrow as well. Okay, so that means you got to have teams in place because time is money. Every single day is costing you hundreds of dollars. You cannot dilly-dally around. You have to have a plan put in place, especially if you're using OP. Okay, everybody know what OP is, right? Other people's money. Okay. So we go ahead and let's jump on to the next one. Yeah, this is in Oildale, California. Now, I know your price down here, guys. Okay, it's like median. I was talking to one of the other realtors. Where's my other realtor I was talking to earlier tonight about the price point here? Oh, Amir over here. What's the average median home value here in Los Angeles? 450-ish. 450. Okay, 500,000 median home value. Can't cash flow on those guys. Okay, our median home value right now is 230, 235. Okay, so it's a whole different market. So we're taking a look at these points. A lot less to get in, and you're still making the same returns. Okay. Now this one here is still up in Olympic. This one is around the corner from this one. This is on Charleston. The next street up is Olympic. So this is the same neighborhood. But we went ahead and we got this one. It's about the same price. Sold it for $128. Rehab cost was about the same. We profited right at about $32,000 with an FHA buyer. We had about $2,500 in closing costs. This is very, very common in our area when we have FHA buyers that are coming in. They don't have a lot of cash. Okay, they barely got credit. But we're going ahead and we're having to pay for some of their closing costs, but we're getting full price offers. The problem we're having down now is appraisals. You guys having that problem down here too, appraisals? Tell you what, those appraisers, I'm telling you. You got to take care of these guys.
Your investor profit, does that include what you're making and what you're paying off to whoever you borrow the money?
This is afterwards.
That's after you pay
Yeah.
everybody else off.
Yeah.
That's what you put in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay? Woodrow Avenue. Now, this was a fun property. I don't like spiders, and I don't like snakes. They terrify the hell out of me. Okay? I'm over here, and we're rehabbing. I go in. I remember this house I will never forget. We go in, and we have to do a lot of rehab, and we were actually over budget on this, and there was a reason why. But I go in, and I walk in, and the place smelled ghastly, okay? They didn't have working toilets in there. They were using the back bedroom in a bucket, and yeah, you can imagine. But now I'd gone through Friday, and I'm going through with my guys, looking at what we needed to do our demo and everything else, and the house was clear. I go back the next day because I needed to take a look at some things in the kitchen. Now, I carry a California CCW. Everybody know what a CCW is? No. It's a concealed weapons permit. Okay, I carry a firearm when I'm going. What's that? What county? Kern County. Okay, yeah, we have more CCWs than the rest of the counties all put together. God bless America. As you guess, I'm very pro-gun. Okay, but correct gun as long as they're educated and safety. And so, but I don't want every idiot with one. So, but what we did is I went into this house here the second day, and I'm walking through the kitchen, and there's a back bedroom, and all of a sudden I hear this. I'm like, holy crap, what the hell? You know, and the door's closed, this back bedroom's closed. And I'm like, hello? And he's like, oh, excuse me, it's all right. And I hear this dog growling. And I said, excuse me, you can't be in here. He says, oh, give me just a minute. And I'm knocking on the bedroom door at this point. And I don't know who the heck's in there, right? Could be Charles Manson. But we go ahead. Oh, yeah, we owned it. We own the property now. So this is the kind of things you're going to have to deal with. You want to rehab, it happens. Right, Kurt? We're going to tell that story in a minute. But we go ahead, and he says, come on in. And I open the door. It's this big-ass pit bull, man. I mean, this thing was like this, had a head on him like this. Going, I'm like, dude. And he's like, sorry. And he's holding on to him, right? And I said, dude, you can't be here. And he's like, well, it's, I don't have any place to go. And this is like Saturday, and we're starting construction on Monday. Should have never done this. I've learned my lesson, but I told him, I said, I'll tell you what. Will you do me a favor? The guy was being cool with me. He said, would you do me a favor? I said, I know you need a warm place to sleep. This isn't the best of locations and stuff, but would you help me out? And he goes, well, sure, how can I help out? And I says, would you keep an eye on the property? Because on this particular property, right through this thing here, there's another apartment back there, and there's a gate right over there with an alleyway. This was in the middle of the block, and it was a thoroughfare for all the drug dealers. Okay, I said, would you do me a favor, keep an eye on the property with us until we start construction on Monday, but you got to be gone Sunday night, and I'll allow you to stay. And he says, hey, not a problem. I'll be out of here Sunday night. Cool. I'll keep an eye on it, make sure nobody busts anything. I said, okay, cool. Now, there's risks with that, guys, okay, because as soon as you give somebody permission to stay there, okay, that's it. Then you can have to start doing evictions and things like that. So it's a risk. Sometimes you got to play it by the gut, okay? I'm not saying anybody to do that. Now, the problem with this property, and this is why you have problems and you work this into your contingency plans, we go ahead, we get in there, we get it, brand new paint, new carpet, new fixtures, brand new kitchen floor, okay? We revamped the back property in there as well, and we actually had to redo the layout a little bit. Redo the gate that's been, we had to literally put a 4x4 to block that gate because we kept having people breaking through it. We would screw the gate shut, they would kick the gate down. Well, we finally got it secured, and so they didn't do that. But
Why did you find that nuisance? Just a question.
well, it was supposed to be more than that. But it would have been better profit, and it's a quick turn, and it is the good. And we actually ended up selling this to an investor. That,
Oh.
yeah, that they were going to buy and hold investor. But we went ahead and we were having to redo the electrical panels and everything else because we knew we had issues with the electrical on this, okay? This is where having a really, really good crew is important, okay? The inspector came out there and he says, hey, because we're, pulled permits for the electrical and everything else. He signed off and he says, hey, everything looks really good. You got a junction box up in the ceiling. That's to be. I said, yeah, our electrician's here. They're replacing it today. I take off. The inspector takes off. I take off. I head back to my office. About an hour later, my project manager says, Kevin, get down here now. And I'm like, oh, crap. I jump into my car. I race down there. The building's on fire. Got smoke coming out and everything. That junction box, what had happened was they had switched the electro back and they were working on it. That junction box had sparked. Okay. Fresh kitchen vinyl, paint, and they're ripping down my ceiling. My crew's in there with water hoses trying to save this thing. They did, thank God. But we still had smoke damage, and we had burning embers coming down on my vinyl. But we did get it cleaned up and everything else, and that's why we went a little bit over budget on this. We're all adults in here, right? No kids? Shit happens. But, yes, sir.
Yeah. After repair value, after ARV.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
After ARV, after repair value.
Yes.
What are you expecting to?
Typically, I like to have, I shoot for a 10 to 12% return. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yeah, typically. But I'd like more. I'm good with 15, 18. But yeah, but we shoot for a goal of 10 to 12. Right, somewhere around there, Conrad? Yeah.
Yes, you may have already explained this, but sorry. But are you accounting for the, you say you're not putting up any of your own money, so the financing.
Yes.
Where is that?
That, on this particular one, we actually bought this. And so, yeah, that wasn't the financing on that. But, it was, well, I didn't buy it. It was my partner that we had on this one, and they put up the money on it. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you split the
Mhm.
profit with them at the end?
Yeah. It was a co-op on that one. Okay. Now, this one, we had to put a lot of AC units on here. And purchase price 169, sales price was 290, which was a nice one. But we had a heavy rehab on this. Net profit to us was 49.9, 50,000 basically, but it was a heavy rehab. New AC units, new roof, new everything on that. So work your numbers, and this is the formula that we have. Oh, this is what I want to talk about in a minute. This is the formula. What I do is I go after repair. Now write this down, guys. Okay? After repair value minus repair costs, minus title and escrow, minus investor profit. I usually figure about 13 to 15% if you can. Sometimes you're going to have a little bit more. I also then minus about 2% as a fluff. What's that? Gross. But I had to think about that one for a minute. But and then that's going to give you your maximum allowable offer. Okay. Now are you going to start off at that? No. Because when do you make your money, guys? On the buy, not on. You realize it on the sell. Not every deal is a wholesale, or excuse me, a profitable deal. Okay. This was in Nevada. We did one. This is in Henderson, and another just real cosmetic rehab. There's nothing spectacular about this one. We just kind of cleaned it up. Came in, rehabbed it, and then profited. I think we actually profited a little less than that because this one, even though this one says net pre-tax to the investor, is that we didn't, on these numbers, I know we only made about, I think it was about 18 or 19 on this one because it doesn't figure the financing in there. My Kentucky project. I did this one on accident. We went ahead and actually we did okay on it, as you can see. But we went ahead and we bought it online. as a joke. Oops, we got it. Oh, I didn't even have anything to drink at that time. That really sucked. But we went ahead and we did purchase it really, really cheap. We knew that the comps were in this area right here, 130, 150, 150,000. So we felt comfortable putting a $45,000 bid in on it. We didn't think we'd get it. Yeah.
Beforehand, what do you do? Just title search?
No, this was on an online auction.
Oh, but so the online auction had clean title, first position.
Well, we called back there.
Just to make sure.
Yeah, and being part of the Keller network, there was other Keller Williams, so we talked to the team lead that was back there, and we talked to title folks and got all that. We did our research.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not buying something
The only thing
blind.
you do is like a physical walkthrough.
Yeah, and what we did is we had the realtor back there go through and do the walkthrough for us. Now, why would a realtor that's out of town do that?
Well, they might make a sale on the back end.
Exactly. I'm going to give them the listing. And so, right? Every day, Amir's like, oh, yeah, you bet. But we went ahead and we had our realtor do the walkthrough, give us a little video. We also did the video chat with them. So as they were walking through, we were on video with them. And it was kind of cool. We get a little tour of the house and knew exactly what kind of rehab we needed to do. We did up a list and went ahead and rehabbed it. And we gave our realtor a bonus on that one we'll give them their commission, obviously, but paid them a little bonus for project managing and helping us as well. So don't be afraid to help your team members pay out a little bit extra. Okay, it's not a big deal. This is one that down in Palm Springs. I'm going to jump over this one. I just want to jump into some other stuff real quick. Here we go. This is the one I want to talk about. It's a nice little house, huh? This is right in Bakersfield. This is what we call our 18th Street. This is in Westchester area, which is a nice little community. They run usually about homes range anywhere from the upper 200s to $400,000 and $500,000. So there's a big range. And they were built in the early 1900s. We get stuff from the turn of the century all the way up to 1930s and stuff. And yeah, it's a neat little community. And but we went ahead and we got this house here. And I was originally the listing agent on it. Okay? And we had a person that went ahead and bought or went into contract. Well, I guess we had something happen over there. Everybody okay? But we went ahead and on this particular, and this is how you can get deals, and you have to be creative. Okay? So we had an investor that came in, got a little bit of cold feet because it needed some work. Initially it had a wood shake roof. It hadn't been updated, and I'm going to show you some before pictures and then after pictures. And couldn't see the bigger picture of it. And that's what we have to take a look at, guys. Putting a new roof is not that hard. Okay, just price it into the price. Putting new paint, new carpet, new flooring. Work your numbers and don't lie to yourself. Okay? Work the numbers and then don't come up and say, oh, I think I can fudge on. No. The numbers are what the numbers are. Okay? But we went ahead and they had offered $205,000 and it fell out of escrow. The sellers were devastated because they were having to move, and they were an older couple. They had to move out of state. Okay? So I talked to them and I said, you know what? I ran the numbers and everything. I said, would you mind if I bought it from you at that same price? And they're like, sure. So I went ahead and I called up my private investor, one of them. I said, hey, I need $205,000 plus an additional rehab cost of that. They went ahead, not a problem, Kevin, went ahead and wired it into escrow. We went ahead and closed on this, rehabbed it, and we had some escrow costs and everything. Now, sometimes you have to have multiple strategies because not everything goes to plan, right? So we went ahead, and this is where all that honesty and integrity and everything else works. So our intention was to flip this property, okay? So we went ahead, we had it for sale, we had it into escrow, and we had a low appraisal come in. We had it listed at, what did we have that listed at, Connor? 310? And then we took one at 315 or 312 or something like that, is what we had it sold for. The appraisal came in at $285,000. I'm like, are you kidding me? There's no way we're selling this for $285,000. So we went ahead and we said, nope, we're not coming down there. I said, I'll come down 5 or so, I'll work it out, but I'm not coming down that far. We had a rogue appraiser. It happens. Okay?
Yeah, or somebody that doesn't know the market.
Yeah, and I'm taking a look at the comps. I'm like, and we tried to fight it and everything, and he wouldn't budge. So I said, all right, let's just go ahead and let's do a secondary thing. Let's go ahead. What can we rent it for? Okay, and they said, oh, well, we can rent it for about $1,800 to $1,900. I said, okay, how's that work with the numbers? So we called our investor, and I said, hey, we got a little bit of an issue here. The market's changed. It's flattened out a little bit. We can go ahead and refinance this thing, pay you out, or would you like to restructure the note with us? Trying to give them options. They said, let's go ahead and pay as much as we can off, depending on the appraisal. I'll carry a smaller second. And that's what we did. So we went down to the bank, pulled out a cash out refinance, paid this person off, or a portion of it. They went ahead and went into a second position, still making money. And still to this date right now, we still have this rented. What are we still at $1,850? Okay. Is it making us a lot of money? No. But it has appreciated over the last year. Because we've had approximately about a 5 to 6% appreciation. Plus we did some things to the property as well this last year. We put in some, huh? And they want to buy it. So yeah, they had some credit issues and stuff. They had good enough credit to go ahead and put them in a deposit and everything else, renters, but they couldn't get the conventional financing to buy it. Our FHA limit is $280,000 in our area. At a $300,000 or $310,000, you have to have a conventional loan. They couldn't qualify for the conventional at that time. We had them working through credit, which they should be able to now. We're going to be selling it right around the $310,000 to $320,000 mark, probably and I think you're meeting with them next month.
Yeah, I got to talk to them next week.
And we should be able to bring this down and bring it to market. So, and I'll give you guys a heads up on what we do. Makes sense? But here, let me show you a couple of,
Before and after, please.
yeah, and that's what I want to do here real quick. Let me minimize this. So this is before, whoops. Can you guys see this? Can I use my clicker on this? I guess I can't. Can you guys see this here? This is the front of the house here. It's pretty, all this plant and everything. This is a wood shake roof. Okay. And then this is all growth. This is all ivy and everything. What's that? Yeah, with a torch. This is our living room, and it's a little dark here. Now this is our kitchen. All tiled, dated. Here's the ceiling that's up in there. Remember that old fluorescent lightings, guys? Okay, they were up in there.
70s.
Pretty sexy, huh? But this is right behind it. And look at that. And you can't see the Spanish tile right there. It's a little dark here. But there's Spanish tile here. A little laundry room right there. There's another fluorescent lighting in there. And then here's that Spanish tile. This is in a little dining area. This is a little white. They had a dry erase board. I guess they were taking notes or their shopping lists or whatever there. And this is an old illegal ladder that went up into a little loft. Gotta love that. I could barely fit up through that. And I'm pretty thin. So this is a railing, very dangerous for children. It was about this wide in between each one. So that's the things you need to consider, guys, when you're rehabbing. We're going to be selling to a family. What do families have? They got little critters. They can jump right through that thing, and they're jumping down to the second floor. Not a good thing. So you got to think of those. Got to love that draperies. Isn't that beautiful? But it had some great wood flooring. And the thing that I liked about this, guys, this is cedar in here. All the closets were lined with cedar, which was kind of cool. Okay? Yeah. This is our master. Can you see that there's a fireplace right here? Yeah. Okay. And see all this stuff here? This is that ivy. It's growing into the windows and the air ACs and everything else. The rest of the master stains all over the place. And this is a skylight that was leaking because of the wood shake roof. This is an old cast iron bathtub. Wow. All tile, old school 70s old tile. It took 4 guys to carry this thing out. It was heavier than hell. I thought they were going to kill themselves or give themselves a hernia. I don't know. But all the tile that's in there looks pretty dated. A lot of gold and stuff like that. So 1 sink in here. Okay, that's a problem in the master. I like having dual sinks, right, in the masters. Okay? The toilet and the bathtub, that's cool. So, but can you guys see all of this? It looks like it's blurry. That's plant life, guys. That's all plants, all the way growing into that stucco. Okay? When we tried to come in here, we're taking off all of this ivy, okay? And we were taking it off because we had to come back in and repaint. We couldn't get the stuff off of there. We actually had to go and take a blowtorch to the entire side of the building and everything to get it off of there, and then come back in and repaint. So, boy, that was interesting. All of that, see all that livy there? It's all growing into that AC unit. Isn't that special? Yes, but it looks so pretty in green in the spring. Yeah. Okay, pool. Little area back here that was kind of a gardening place. Here, so he had some plants and stuff. So, and then back to the front. And here, let me show you some after pictures, if I may. Okay, so you guys remember what it looked like. Let's see. Open with. There it is. Oh, come on. It's not allowing me to open that up. There it is. Okay. So let's take a look afterwards. Can you see this here? Brand new roof now. All freshly cleaned up and everything. Look a lot better. Here's that living room.
Did you keep the same sunroof, or did you?
We repaired it. What do you think about that kitchen, guys? You remember the old kitchen? Huh? Huge. So what did we do here? We came in, we took out that fluorescent lighting, we put recessed lighting in here, redid these cabinets, put nice brush nickel, okay, hardware all throughout. Came in, put in granite, nice updated stainless steel, and then the stove. Our Gen Air stove. That's an expensive stove, guys. Things are like run about $3,000. Tile, fresh tile and everything that are here. And then we had the not Spanish, but the Italian type, Mediterranean Italian type backsplash. Yeah. So these are the kind of things that you need to take a look at that will force. You want to focus on mainly, obviously, the cosmetics and the curb appeal. But your kitchen, #1 room to focus on. This is where you're going to get your biggest bang for your buck, is your kitchen. Bathrooms and master suite. Okay? So let's take a look there. So here's that little area. We took out all that Spanish tile. Redid this. Remember that the little writing board there? We put the mirrors in here. Why do we use mirrors a lot of time, guys? Bingo. It's a smaller space. We want to open that space up. We're using a little bit lighter colors to open it up, whites, and this is a beige, and then this is to offset it. But I mean, and then the chandelier that's in here because we wanted to open that room up a little bit.
Is that ceiling like that?
No, we redid that. Okay, so there's that room again, a lot brighter. And that's what, especially in areas like that, you want to really brighten up so that you can open up your areas. Who makes the decision on buying a house typically? The wife. What areas does she want to focus on? Kitchen. That's where you're going to put most of your biggest bucks. Okay, there's that. We actually ended up putting this ladder up in here. We opened that space up. Remember that little space that I could barely fit up in? It was an illegally done base. So we opened it up to make it legal and then put a pull down. Okay? So that it can actually go up and you can actually use this as a room. There's that, whoops, let me go back. Remember that railing that the kids could fall through?
That's a good idea.
Guess what we put in there?
For the ladder.
Just put some lattice. Very decorative lattice. That makes it look nice, and we just put it up there so if the kids are up there playing on everything, they're not going to fall through. What's that?
Is that lattice an outdoor product? That you
Yeah, it's an indoor, in and outdoor, yeah. So, yeah, we just made it look nice up in there. This is just one of the other bedrooms. Here's our master. We went ahead and, I don't know, you can't really see it here. This is really dark. But right here, there's that kit, and there was a fireplace right here, and it was all gold and everything else. We ended up painting it, getting it black, and making it look really nice, surrounded by wood. So you can't really see that picture that well. But there's our bathroom again. Took that cast iron tub out, put a jacuzzi tub in. Okay, and then we redid it with all the tile, nice upgraded tile instead of that little 4-inch stuff from the 70s. Okay, and then here's our shower. Same thing. We went ahead and updated all of this to make it more modernized. Got rid of all the gold. Put a lot of brushed nickel and silver in there. Okay, remember we had that one sink? Guess what we got? We went ahead and replumbed so that we could have 2 sinks, husband and wife. Okay? Because I know when I'm over there shaving and brushing my teeth, I don't want my wife standing in behind me doing her makeup. Get on your own side. Right? So you can say the same thing right in there with the nice tile in there and updated shower. It makes it really nice. It's a nice walk-in shower now for the master suite.
Is there a door in that?
Yes, there is. There isn't on that shot, but there is. We came in and put a door in there. Yeah. Okay, this is the downstairs bathroom. Up in here, we just redid the tile. We built the little enclave there to put shampoos and stuff in there. And then went ahead and put granite and repainted everything in here white with brushed nickel. We used the brushed nickel throughout the house, kind of to keep that flow. Okay. Back of the house. We cleaned that all up, fixed it up, and got rid of all of our plant life. Okay, obviously cleaned the pool. And got rid of it out of the AC. Had our HVAC come out there and service that, and he pulled a truckload of plants from out of that HVAC. So, now remember that little gardening area that was over there? What we ended up doing is we went ahead and we brought some little brick, leveled it out a bit. Now this little was just like a little wall that was put there. Well, we broke that down a little bit. Actually, this was Conrad's idea. And we made it a little step here, stepping stones, making a little seating area in the back out by the pool so that you can go in either in the morning, go out, walk, relax, have your cup of coffee, or later on in the evening have a nice little romantic little place to go and have a glass of wine with your significant other. Okay, and that was a big selling point with that. So, neat little area that we made for them. And that's our little house.
Did you fix up the pool?
We did. We ended up putting a little bit of We put a new pump, and the plumbing was redone, so we had to redo the plumbing a little bit. And
Painted it?
no, we just cleaned it up. We had it acid washed and cleaned it up so that it made it nice and clean, because it was just stained a little bit, but the plaster was still good. So we just acid washed it, cleaned it up, refilled it, got it balanced, and put a pool company in charge of it.
And did you put, since you were worried about kids falling through railings,
That was inside the house.
so you didn't let
No,
them,
yeah, and with that point there's two different things, especially with a pool, guys. You need to be very, very careful. It's you need to go ahead and either put fencing around the pool, whether it be permanent or temporary, or alarms on the doors, and that's by California code. Okay.
do alarms?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Okay, so how do we do it? Obviously, a lot of times we buy cash. Okay. And we'll go ahead and we'll buy cash, and it's usually with some of our private money, and we're going to coming in. And this is a lot of times what I'll do is I'll find a particular project, or we'll find a particular project that we want to flip, and we calculate how much our rehab is and everything. And so say if it's a $200,000 house, and we can find it for $125,000, whatever, get it under contract, and it needs, say, $25,000 or $20,000 worth of work. So our purchase price is $125,000. We'll overfund it. So we'll go to our private investor and say, okay, hey, we need to go ahead and get $145,000. They'll go ahead, our private money folks will go ahead and fund that into escrow. Okay. We'll close escrow. We get $25,000 back. What do we use that $25,000 for? Huh?
Rehab.
For rehab, exactly. You rehab certain key areas that's going to force the appreciation, right? So now instead of a $200,000 house, we may have a $225,000 house because we forced the appreciation. We can go back to our bankers down the road here and then go ahead and refinance and cash out our private money. Now we have a cash flowing property, if we're going to hold it. That makes sense? So leverage is very important, especially on your buy and hold. I don't like to over leverage. Be very, very careful. A lot of the school of thought is how much to leverage, no more than. Anybody know? A lot of the gurus that are out there say 70, 75%, 80% sometimes, the more aggressive ones. I like to keep it down around no more than 50%. I'm a little bit more, because if I have to fire sell it, okay, to get out of it, I can move it, right? Very, very important. Fix and rehab, flip and wholesale, and then resale, hold, and stuff. So, and that's how we do it. So, add value by forcing appreciations. Buyers will pay a premium for the enhancements that you make to a property, the repairs, the fixtures. You can also change zoning changes. Okay, take a look at different zonings. If you can, or taking a nice 3-bedroom house that has extra square footage and making it a 4-bedroom house. Change the footprint, right? As long as you have the square footage there, you can change that. We had a perfect example, permitting. You can also, we had a duplex that was a 2-story duplex. The second story, now this was built back in 1946, that they had put the second story in there. The ceilings were only 70 inches, okay? Code is 72 inches. It was 2 inches too short. But what we did is we brought the building department in and everything and said, hey, we have this. We showed them the plans and everything. We had to put the heating. We had to do everything else, bring this thing up to code. But they went ahead and permitted it. They grandfathered it in and permitted it. Okay, thus making it a true duplex. What did that do to value? Just by getting it re-permitted. Now it's a legal permitted duplex. Yeah, well, no, it's one address. It's just A and a B. Yes, it's one APN.
So how difficult is it to get them to do that? If you're doing everything else, are they?
Just depends on your building department, and then In this particular case, we identified it, and we sat down and talked to them and gave them the situation, the scenario, and we were able to get it grandfathered in because of the age of the house. So how do we fix it? I use 3 different levels of contractors. Okay, a lot of times, as much as possible. Somebody have the heater on in here? Whew. Oh, okay. I'm telling you, it's getting warm. But I thought it was just me. I thought my age, hot flashes or something. But we went ahead, we used handyman as much as possible. Now, there's key areas that I'm going to use licensed people. Roofing, major electrical, HVAC. Okay, yes, heating and air conditioning. Okay, and pools and plumbing, major plumbing. Not minor. I'm not going to have a licensed guy come in and change the sink. Okay, I'll use my handyman. But use handymans as much as possible. Repainting and things like that, the normal easy stuff. Inexperienced but licensed contractors, you can get them cheaper. And then my heavier stuff, I always use licensed people. Okay, always get in there and do that. Overfix and appreciating market, but keep it cheap in today's market because of appraisal issues. We are having challenges with appraisals, guys. These appraisers are just being a pain in the butt. We're running our comps, and they're still coming up underneath a lot of times. Curb appeal, paint, 2-tone. I like Swiss coffee and cream, or white in some cases. Stainless steel appliances, flooring, and then focus on the primary areas, the kitchen, master bath, our master bedroom and bath. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess it's some places that it doesn't pay to rehab.
To what?
Or some places doesn't pay to rehab. What about prehab?
To rehab?
Yeah, less, for example, depending the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you don't go to a complete rehab. Just you go to prehab and they call
Yeah, you clean it up real quick and then sell it.
That's
Yeah, you don't do the full rehab. Yeah.
Yeah, depending the area.
Sure. No, it depends on the address. You're absolutely correct. Todd. Is that Todd?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually have 2 questions. One is, did you say you're buying these properties at 50% of ARV?
In some situations, I have found them. Yes, but not normally. It's rare.
Okay.
It's very rare.
And 2, have you found with your crews that it gets difficult to spend more than a certain amount of dollars per month? So if you look at a budget,
You got to also remember that a couple of these houses were several years ago. Okay, this isn't this year.
but can you look at a rehab budget and say if it's a $60,000, it's difficult to spend more than $20,000 a month. So I know this is gonna be a 3-month rehab. Can you do that?
Say, ask that question again.
So I'm finding it difficult to spend more than $20,000 a month with my crews, even if I want to go faster, because guys are climbing on top of each other and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Can you look at a budget and kind of get an idea of what it's going to take?
Of a timeline, yeah. Because I know certain things have to be done in a certain order. Okay? I'm always going to put my carpet last. I'm going to do my demo first. Then I'm going to do, the painting, and then I'm going to do my fixtures, and then, stuff like that.
That's not dictated on budget, though. He's saying
That's not dictated on budget,
dictated
though. That's dictated just on time frames.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get rules of thumb if
type
it's,
of work.
if it's X amount of dollars per month.
No,
No.
no. It's going to depend on, yes, it's just going to depend on what you're doing. Yeah. Why do we finance or leverage a lot of times? Can we just use all sorts of cash, whatever? I don't like using my own cash when I'm doing these. I like to be able to use other people's money. Okay?
Mostly like hard money or just traditional?
I use private money. I have
What kind of interest rates?
anywhere from 8 to 12%. Sometimes you got to pay a little extra, sometimes not. It just depends on your relationship.
So like on
Now, the money that I get from different folks, I have a number of folks that I can go to that is private money. You guys know the difference between private money and hard money? No. Hard money is a little bit more institutionalized, where they're going to have you pay points up front, interest rates, and you have to qualify. They're going to do the appraisal, things like that. Private money is, Deborah, hey, we just had wine the other night and dinner at the house. You get an extra $100,000 that we can go and invest together, and I'll pay you, 10%, 12% interest. I do all private.
With private money, do they still have a note that's tied?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
on the property,
Yeah,
the-
and a deed of trust. Absolutely. You want to secure their interest. This is a business deal. You want to make sure that when you're dealing with your folks that you're completely transparent. This is a partnership. It's like a marriage. It's a work marriage. And this is where that honesty and integrity were. And your lenders and your private money folks will work with you when you have, they know things happen. They've been in the business a long time too. Being honest and upfront with them and say, hey, we have this situation here. Work with us on this. Can we do this? Give them options. But I've always found that when you're coming back to the table, don't just come with the problem. Come with a solution and options.
That's exactly what we do with AQ.
And that's exactly what we did with 18th Street.
So with the contracts, do you have a lawyer draw up the contract, or is there kind of boiler?
I use a car contract as a broker. I use a car contract. Oh, and then your different private money folks are going to have, some of the more experienced ones are going to have their own contracts. You can go, and I definitely say get legal advice, absolutely. You can go into your attorney the first time and draft up something, but I would talk to different people that do the business in here and kind of get, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? You know, and find out from them as well. Take the best of all worlds, and then go, after you get everything pulled together, go and talk to your attorney. Go talk to a nice, good real estate attorney or contract attorney. Leveraging always helps grow your purchasing power. I can always, if I'm taking that same $100,000, okay, and then I'm going to leverage that, I can take that $100,000, spread it across, and do bigger purchasing power. So that's why I always like the power of leverage. Your rate of returns. Okay, so the way we do it, of course, is cash, financial line of credit, hard money, and then private money. I do mostly private money now. Okay, and I think, am I going the right direction here? Yep. Okay. Typically invest cash for increased returns. Your lending returns of 8 to 10 or 12%. Buying typically, we try to shoot for a 10 to 12%. And if we're joint venturing, a lot of times we'll do a 50% equity split. And then a buyer rehab, we're going to wholesale it off to them. So, but that's basically it, guys. I'm trying to, oh, let me go back there then. I have, where are we? Yeah, we have, oh, there it is. So, one other story, and I promised I'd tell him this real quick story, real quick. And, okay. Yes, and then she's going to kick me off the stage with a big hook. But we went ahead, and I had a call from an investor, and it says, Kirk's in my deal. And initially, let's see, I was helping the seller out on this one. I came in, and I was helping you out on this one. And I ended up talking to the seller, the attorney, right, Kirk? Because you had it already under contract when you called me in on this one. And this was interesting, because it was in escrow. It was a probate. The gentleman had died. And Kirk had it under contract. He had it in escrow. And he says, Kevin, I need your help on this one. I need some boots on the ground because I can't keep coming up there. And I said, not a problem, man. We're buds. I'll take care of you. So I ended up talking to the seller as well. He was a probate attorney. And we got it at, let's see. Did we have the people in there already? There were people living in there. And they were we had to end up, we were in the middle of eviction. That's what it was. They were evicting them out, and we went ahead and we got the lockout, the sheriff lockouts. The sheriffs came and they did the lockout. What had happened was this tenant, okay, that had the sheriff, and basically, and the sheriff, when they came up there, said, guys, you got to go. And she was arguing with the sheriff, and the sheriff basically went, lady, you're either going out here or you're going in the back of my car. and so she went ahead and got out. They went to the judge again, and this is the only time I've ever seen this. They had a commissioner overturn the lockout. I've never seen it. 15 years. And I've done a lot of trustee sales and evictions. Only time I've ever seen this. They had a loophole in there that they went ahead and the judge, the actual judge that had signed off, had gone off on some, like 3-day retreat or something like that, and there was a commissioner who went ahead and signed off on it. She moved back in to the house. We're like, what the hell are you doing? The judge obviously came back, reissued and we got him out.
Did she get extra time from it though? Like if
Yeah, like a week.
oh, a week, okay.
Yeah, like a week, 2 weeks. But Kurt's over here, we got to get this thing closed. We finally get them out, and Kurt's running up there, and we both go in, and it was trashed, huh? It was a mess. And I mean, there was literally this and there was this plate, and I remember this vividly, this big sausage that was sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, they left frickin' breakfast on the table. So I called it the sausage house. But every house kind of gets their little nickname.
Yeah.
But that was the sausage house. And
Thank you, Kevin.
thank you guys.
So,
Awesome.
Kevin,
Yes.